Okay, welcome back to the 453rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 6, 2022. Hello, Mr. Kesh, are you there and ready to begin part 2 today?
Yes, ready, willing, and able.
Okay, would you like to entertain questions as per usual in this procedure, or how would you like to go ahead?
Let's see what questions. There's a couple of things we put in, usually because we're covering the back of the commercials. Just 1 second, please. As you know, we start putting in the artist work for sale on the Keshe Foundation. Most of the artwork is sold, and the new, what you call, artworks, which are opened up as of today or yesterday. New paintings come in, and artists around the world are asking us they want to put in. It's not just asking to put CO2 or a gas of the Zn or whatever in it. You have to understand the ones we commission has to be much more than just that. As the ones which are commissioned by Keshe Foundation, we supply the gases. When you go in it, you feel it. You feel the strength of the field. It's not just because, oh, I can get a gas of zinc and copper and whatever I can do. You got to understand more. It's much more, and it has to be done that way. So we see how things turn up and how things go. And you can go and see the new paintings, which has gone up for what we call promotion and sale by the artists, which they painted. We had our artisans in pottery and others are trying to do things to send to the foundation. Please first talk to us before you send it. We want to know what you use and how you use, what material was used. And yes, this is a new one coming. It's a pair of them. This is actually beautiful paintings, just been done for the foundation by the Italian painter. It's a twin. One is the man above the earth and one below. And there's another one which is a infinity loops, and then there is a volcano as a set, which these are what is coming to us from the artists who paint these things, and we received the first commissions, people who commissioned paintings for them to be done, and so we're going from one step to another gradually to the point where we can see how things are taking shape. Just 1 second. In so many ways, we will try to bring a lot of things forward, and trying to let the knowledge seekers to bring what we call their understanding. And we've seen some knowledge seekers, they deliberately become members of different part of the groups, trying to sell their products in the background or promote themselves in the background with the knowledge seekers. We blocked it. We blocked with one of the Universal Council support team was blocked because of this, for what we call clandestine behavior. And we monitor these things. Try to be straightforward with the foundation. We try to help you to expand your work, but don't try to do things which doesn't fit into our framework. In the coming weeks, we'll bring in more knowledge, more on to know what's happening and what is going on between all of us and amongst us, and we'll see how things will take shape. In the next few weeks, we will introduce new technologies, new systems. Many of you are asking me what happened to the power unit, combined power unit. We had to redesign it, and then it was more or less completed, the first phase of testing, all going through this week. And it is, hopefully, we should be able to show it very soon, because this is a very active, and on the back of it, there are other technologies which will come out, which allows what we call the enhancement unit flights to take shape and place. Some of you keep on asking me what happened with what we asked for a small amount of donations which you made, or loan or whatever, a few months ago. We became aware of this morning, earlier, as of this morning. They have blocked some of the funds to be reverted back to us due to the situation we have with the government of Belgium, as you know, over years. And our people in the background are working literally frantically, as we know, where we got all our things in stock, through other channels to allow us to bring what we set up to do, the funds back into condition that we can go back to all normal operation. As we've seen, when you deal with a devious nation, it can block you years and create problems years down the line. And now we became aware of this blockage for what we call the work of the Belgians. The foundation will find another way very soon through our operations to be able to transfer the funds back into the foundation, that we can at least work with what we have, which belongs to us. What I would like to do is to answer the questions in a very direct way, if we see what comes and what goes. As I said last time, we were asked to interfere or take part in the politics side of what's going on, as I was born in Iran and still carry a Iranian passport, in the politics of what's going on in Iran. And I think you got your answer today in how we operate. We do not need to be there to touch. We are aware we are there and we bring the change. And in a way, in a very short time, in the coming years, you take your grievances to the Universal Council with the world leaders, with governors, and the Universal Council access to the knowledge of humanity and technology will raise the soul of the world leaders. There shall be no prison except man prisoning himself with his own physicality to what I call the shame of his conduct. In so many ways, you learn to work different way. Those who act criminal, we do not need to worry where to build a prison and make it safer. We elevate them and they become prisoners of themselves in how they conduct and how they do themselves. And we'll take everything to another step and see how gradually we change things. We are testing a lot of things. We are developing a lot of things. We have teams of different groups who are doing different things for the Keshe Foundation in the background, testing and developing and progressing. As I said to those of you who were in different conditions, the Keshe Foundation operation stays Keshe Foundation operation in every aspect. But those like the painters and the others who work with us will benefit by our structure. As I said, Keshe Foundation, through collaboration with doctors in Germany, now has opened the facilities for Parkinson with what we call the work goes with the doctors and their supervision. They work with what we call Alzheimer's, and the work with what we see with a lot of young children, again through doctors in Germany, the operation of what we call organizing these things is done by the doctors and using of the technology, using the facilities of the technology, Keshe Foundation supporting them. If you have such a condition, get in touch with the Keshe Foundation through the standard channels of communication, and we put you to the doctors, and they can look after you, and they can bring the change, and to see if change can be brought in. We know that the doctors have started working with the autism, and once they complete these processes, they will report back to you as doctors. But the same as I said, we support artists and the others who work. Doctors' art is in processing the man's conditions. And as we sell the paintings of the artist. We introduce you to the doctors if they want to take your case up, and they will do. And the Keshe Foundation is the intermediary between the knowledge and the world of medicine in respect to those who use our technology 100%. They've had some successes we've seen, and the improvement in conditions. So if you are in that way, if you have other skills we are not aware of, let us know that you can use the Keshe Foundation's facilities and the process that you can benefit by it or others can benefit by. The process which now set up as a clinic in Germany by the doctors will support in a package small cases till gradually we expand this across the world. If you are or you know anybody suffering from these three conditions, get in touch and we put you in touch with the doctors and the teams who use our technology to the benefit of humanity. Any other question? If you have any questions to answer.
There was a question that I kind of put off because I thought it might be a medical question, but since you brought up about the medical facility, from Tarek in the YouTube, it says, cholera is spreading widely in my country. Is the cup of life appropriate? Was the question. So I said that because of restrictions in our...
Cholera is not interfering with the health. Cholera is like COVID. It's an international condition. You need to use about 80% of copper and 20% CO2. Use very, very small amount of magnesium, maybe 1%. Use about 5% by weight of salt of the copper, and the slide or whatever amino acid you capture over your what we call the copper. Use the water of the GANs with a very, very small amount of the GANs itself into large containers or as a spray. And always let it to settle and take the, whatever it is, the food or whatever you put. Wash your, what we call foods, whatever it is, in the water continuously. Cholera does not need anything else. It's like malaria. We overcome malaria, and many of our knowledge seekers in Africa use it. Can you go on the Wikipedia and show us what cholera is? Because a lot of people hear it by name, but they don't know actually what it is, what it does.
Okay.
You mix by weight 80% of the copper GANs. Never use zinc when it comes to fighting things like this, because zinc gives comfort to what we call the material, whatever is made. It is, what do you call it? You have to understand the difference between parasite, germs, and viruses. And if you work with parasites, if you work with that kind of level of microbes, you need to avoid under any circumstances zinc. So cup one does not work. It's not the solution. You have to be able to understand the whole process of what is and how things work. You have to, what they call, bring the understanding of it. Can you read what the cholera is from the beginning for us, for all of us?
Okay, it says cholera is an infection of the small intestine by some strains of the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. Symptoms may range from none to mild to severe. The classic symptom is large amounts of watery diarrhea that lasts a few days. Vomiting and muscle cramps may also occur. Diarrhea can be so severe that it leads within hours to severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. This may result in sunken eyes, cold skin, decreased skin elasticity, and wrinkling of the hands and feet. Dehydration can cause the skin to turn bluish. Symptoms start 2 hours to 5 days after exposure. Cholera is caused by a number of types of Vibrio cholerae, with some types producing more severe disease than others. It is spread mostly by unsafe water and unsafe food that has been contaminated with human feces containing the bacteria. Uncooked shellfish is a common source. Humans are the only known hosts for the bacteria. Risk factors for the disease include poor sanitation, not enough clean drinking water, and poverty. Cholera can be diagnosed by a stool test. A rapid dipstick test is available but not as accurate. Goes on to say about prevention methods. Do you want me to continue?
No, it says good enough. As I said to you, the reason is it's a bacteria. You can't give it Zen because otherwise it feels good and expands. You use the CO2 to create a connection. You use the copper because a heavy element in absorbing the energy of the, what we call the living elements of it. And it literally has a disinfectant property. As you read there, it creates vomiting and everything else. Whenever you vomit, you lose large amount of magnesium. And that leads to the next vomiting and then weakens the next vomiting and more water you lose. So in this condition, you need to use magnesium to replace the magnesium lost by vomiting, and then within a few hours, you see the signs of recovery. But in general, you add this mixture to the waters, and you wash your vegetables and hands and whatever till the situation over, because it doesn't have a long life. It has a very short life. So cup 1 is the worst thing you can use. Cup 2 still has some mixture of the what I call the zinc in it. You might not see a good success rate. And it's a straight copper oxide, CO2, amino acid of copper oxide, and what you call a slight amount of magnesium GANs. And you should see quite a rapid development in this. This is it's very much like what we see with COVID, what we allow to. Now you need to make a CO2 GANs unit, a copper GANs unit, and a magnesium GANs unit. If you can't get hold of magnesium as to make GANSes, crush magnesium tablets if you can get hold of, leave them in CO2 or to your mixture for about 3-4 hours, maybe a day, and then that becomes itself, you can use as a gas. But make sure you don't, consume any of the gases themselves. It's always gas water. But if you use it to disinfect waters, you have to use some of the gas itself. The research has shown this is to be very effective in that way. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. Okay, we have some questions in the Q&A from Carlos. Says, good morning, Mr. Keshrick and knowledge seekers. we have new knowledge seekers participating in the Keshe family in Brazil and in the world. Could you advise us more about the comparison between the leaves of a vertical being and the nano-coated plates? We appreciate your attention.
I presume you're talking about absorption of field. We talked about this many times before. The reason that we absorb or leaves or plants absorb energy from the environment, or they create absorption of the material from the ground, is we look at the leaves in a totally different way. In the reality, what they do, not in what we've been told by what we call the world of science today. If you have worked with the replication field cups, in the replication field cups, we put gases, we fill up the water, we transfer the energy in. The difference is with the replication cup of the leaf is this. This is a leaf. Or I'm doing it upside down. For some of you, you might not see it the right way. If this is a leaf itself is a container. If you look at it two-dimensional, with the difference that you have a nano layer on this side, and you have a different nano layer of slightly difference on the underneath side, which is on this side, the two sides of the leaf. What is in between, even so tiny, is literally what you see as water in this cup. The difference in the field strength of the phase 1 and phase 2 allows a specific field to be absorbed, which become the nourishment of the tree or the plant. It's the same with the root of a tree. Root of the tree, again, is that leaf. And the thickness in between, the liquid in between, creates a magnetic field difference that allows the food between the root and the tree to be pulled up the tree. There is a direct correlation between the leaf of a tree and its root. Here, if I go to the next page, you understand it easier. When you have a tree and its branches and its roots, here we saw the leaf having phase 1 and 2 in a miniature scale. Now, this in a miniature scale becomes 1 and 2, which creates the flow of the sap and the return of the nourishment and what the earth needs to give or the plant takes from the earth. In a way, the border between the earth, the soil, and the air. If you notice in your gas system, when you put the plates, you see circulation of gases. They are in motion. Many of you have seen this. Now, this creates the same motion, allowing the field to pull, to create the water, the nourishment from what we call the earth and the soil. A vertical being works on the 3 levels of the life of this planet. The gases, the water, and the soil. The way we do. We drink, we eat, and we take energy in our lungs. In our heartbeat system, we absorb all the circulation of the air which goes in it. We go the absorption of the what we call field of energy in our blood and the sustainability of the soul. The same thing happens in the movement of the sap in the body of the vertical plant. If you listen, if the knowledge of the man goes upward, even the plant has a heartbeat. Without that heartbeat, you can't push the sap up. You can't create the difference between the two levels of the leaves and the roots. Again, this is different nanoparticle space. This is a different nanoparticle space, and the difference between the two creates. This space gap dictates if you get a herb, if you get a tree, if you get a bush. Look at the leaves, the shape of the leaves. It should give you very clear indication of the position of the life of the planet, where it is, what life cycle can survive and whatever. And this is one of the reasons plants cannot exist in other conditions in this planet or in the universe. The correlation between the leaf, gravitational magnetic field, and the root creates the pumping. So when you look at a leaf, look at it as a cup space. I hope I answered you, but this was explained a long time ago in the teaching education. Any other question?
Yes, I know you've covered that a couple of times in the past. Perhaps one of the knowledge seekers can remember which workshop it was, so they can get some further explanation on that. Okay, we have Lynn with a hand up here. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question from a Chinese group. He said, hello, Mr. Cash. I remember you said before that we don't need a flight system to fly, and I believe we can do because it has been done in the East, like in Buddhism, and also have recorded in Bible, such as Elijah ascended to heaven, became a fire. But most of this knowledge has been lost or distorted. Do you know anything about this? Can you share something with us? How to achieve the body transformation through personal cultivation?
This is what now we are teaching in the Enhancement Center for people to do, gradually to understand. People who came in the first sessions of the Keshe Foundation first cycle as we're testing the systems, now they've learned it. They don't need to be. They can tap in, they can connect. Now it's a knowledge which has to be shared. And as we heard, the fear of what can you do with it is half of that. And the fear of can I do it is the other half. Otherwise, we all have access to it. It's not a knowledge hidden somewhere in books or whatever. The only thing holding back to do, as we heard, as I said with the couple, is ourselves, the fear we have. Transmutation and transportation has been part of the life of the man, and in a very, very, very beautiful way. But it's been now changed to what we call mysticism, is the life of Christ. This is it. At that time, the knowledge was to be transferred as transmutation of the soul and the physicality, and now it's become when the body of the Christ after so many days disappeared, and then they can't find it, and the rest of it. And we see the extent of this mysticism goes into the world of Islam with Mehdi, which disappeared in the water well, and they're waiting for him to come out. It's understanding the transmutation and it doesn't have a space and time. The soul of Mehdi is the same soul as Christ, Muhammad, Moses, and the rest, in different time, position, and the rest. It's the same soul, it's no different, but with more knowledge of the time and the place, and according to time and the place. So disappearing and appearing, the resurrection and the rest of it you talk about, is in a way what now you're learning about your own soul. The moving from one unit and resurrecting in the other. That's all it is. You call it resurrection, we call it transmutation because scientifically we can explain it and we see it today with the people who've gone through it. Thus was the lady going through, had the physical body left behind and resurrected with a husband on another unit, feeding her on his lap, and the shaking she was trying to transmute from the soul to physical dimension. What about the other couple and the others in past week? In a way, we are showing you the resurrection, nothing more. But it's on the title or what you can accept scientifically as transmutation. How long would it take you to go from the left unit to the right unit? Milliseconds or weeks. On the way going from unit 1 to unit 2, you had other desires to go and see Niagara Falls, to go and see the grandma from last century. You just had a remembrance of her. And then by the time you had your friend, oh, it arrived 3 weeks. Are we going to pull our hair up? Oh, she disappeared. We lost the body and the rest of it. Or we wait patiently till you do your travels and you come back and join in. Are you resurrected or have you gone missing? The knowledge which you've just been taught or it's been explained and other people are explaining to you in the teaching is resurrection. In a very plain way. Did we choose the people? No, they chose themselves to be volunteers. Are we going to do something with it? Yes, we're going to expand it, that then it cannot become mysticism. Do you resurrect when you disappear, move into an airplane in London, the doors lock and you appear in New York? Have you resurrected in New York or have you arrived in New York? Just because you brought the physicality and already imprisoned the soul. Now is the reverse. At that time, you could not talk about the technology and the knowledge which is shared today, and so openly millions of you listen to it, and oh, you're talking about the pure resurrection. Nothing more. I cannot tell you I resurrect you, but scientifically you can understand, you can transfer or transmute. Man likes to make different words for the same thing. So every man now has the capability of resurrection. But would the soul allow that resurrection? Would the criminal soul be allowed to go till it cannot clean its position? Now you understand that I told you, world leaders, we know who can transmute and who cannot. And they make criminal out of those who can, because they cannot do it because of their criminality. This is as simple as I can put it. What you heard today is a resurrection. We call it transmutation because we can explain it scientifically. Resurrection, elevation of the soul. The other person can confirm the arrival, the emotion of the cuddling each other of the partners. And it's in the daytime, it's in front of you. It's not done in the back door closed, and as I said, one of the knowledge seekers was standing without translating. How can you speak to a body which is gone and speak, listens, understand to what you wanted to do? It is for us to understand what it is, what it's become. Could Buddha do it? If he reached the level of the lady who was in the machine yesterday, yes. Yesterday, we just had what I call bones on the skin. And when she came out, when we brought her out in the second system, she was warm because she knew she cannot transmute. Come to Linz with your partner and really to know your partner, how much you are devoted and how much is reality of the essence of the emotion. And come together and bring new dimensions to the light of life. We need to understand, we need to know that we cannot be abused in the space by another bunch who might call themselves the prophet, the magicians, or whatever you want to call it. Learn something from the history of Islam. In Christianity, you hide things in the holy water. They asked Muhammad, what's his name, what is the Black Seed? What can we do? Give us a medicine, a way that we in the deserts, we don't have many options. Give us something that has the power to cure most of our diseases. Muhammad said, let me think about it. They come back and he tells them, use the Black Seed. If you work and live around the dimension of Arab nations, you know what it is. And different ways of using it gives different results, different outcome. It's actually medicine, different way. Israelis have done so much research on this Black Seed, and they've seen so many different applications for it. It's actually a pharmacy on itself. If you use it, the root of it, the percentage of it, and whatever for different reasons. They didn't bring a magic. He understood the knowledge. Time of Christ, people were in what they call it magic games. So the holy water came into play and the rest of it, according to understanding of the people. Now you understand what it is, what it does, and how it is, and you're responsible. It cannot be hidden between the books anymore. There's millions of you listening. So call it Buddha, call it Christ. These people understood the work of the transfer and transmutation. And they hid it on the name of religion, and they could give them power. Or people who understood after they left, they use it as a mysticism to give themselves notoriety. Now we understand. Did we resurrect the lady yesterday? Or did she manage to reach that point of it herself? In the next step, when we can confirm conditional physicality, came that way. This is what I explained in a very, very simple way today, but now you ask a question, I open it for you to understand what was the purpose of it this morning. I said that if when the lady went from that system to the other, left the physicality behind, and the other partner felt that arrival, and now she turns up to be different color and shape, would he still honor her and love her the way he liked the other physicality? Many of you, when you transmute in one system to another, don't expect to see yourself the way you are in the other machine. You are you as environment of this machine allows you to be. You will see this, whatever we told you we should know. Now, the reality, the physicality of the soul of Christ in the dimension of manifestation, the way he was before he goes on the cross, and when he came, would people recognize him? So he could live amongst people. And those who understood the soul, who understood who he is, like his partner and a daughter, they moved across into northern Spain. Now you understand how it's done. Now it's not a mystery anymore. When you are resurrected, when you appear on the strength and the condition of the place and the position and the wish of the soul. The same girl you saw speaking is the same girl who was half mermaid, and she went swimming. If you listen to what she said at the beginning of her talk, she wanted to take her partner for a swim. Or that's what she did last time. Or she went to Mars and became Martian, and the green people, like what she calls it, or whatever. So, when you manifest, when you resurrect, would we look at your soul, or would we look at the physicality? And then this is what I said, when you see the creatures of the universe, you look at their souls, not their physicality. This is the process of the creation, and we cannot do anything with it. This is the process of creation in the universe, not here that you're from a blue-eyed blonde mom and dad, you become blue-eyed mom and dad. The condition of the environment you're in allows you, plus the environment of the womb of the mother. When you have an interaction between a white and a black, or a Chinese and a black and whatever, the environment of the womb of the mother and what was brought as energy by the father dictates what condition will have, what kind of life will support. A black child, a half caste, which is a half of energy of the both. We look at the DNA, we don't look at the RNA. And RNA is the transmutation system. And it has to come balance how you appear in that position. And the system's getting developed by Keshe Foundation. In the coming months, we can move you from, as I said before, from condition of the earth and set the other system to be condition of Mars, and you'll see how we look when you arrive in Mars. Do we accept you still as a human? Do we still accept as you? Or we say, oh, something else is resurrected as a cow or 6 legs and 20 heads. Now you understand. As people could not understand, you created the Buddha and Christ's resurrection and everything else of it. Now people understand. We can all resurrect. We've seen it in the lab yesterday, this week. When you hear in the background when I speak, I kept myself going 2 days with a lot of what they call ganses and everything else, but we could not miss that yesterday and the day before. We set these things up. The couple especially was set up to come in for this specific test. We didn't have time any other time. And my sickness and my illness was irrelevant to what had to be taking place. Because it's the time to share the knowledge openly and understand it. We don't need to go to riots, get killed on the streets in the University of Iran. When we set up a communication link with the Iranians across Iran, knowledge seekers, through the same system in the coming weeks and months, we don't need to do anything. we elevate, we don't punish, we don't kill. We start ruling the nation with the soul of the nation. But the nation has to be ready for it. We govern from the soul and not in the nation of physicality. And you're all the same. We don't need to go through pains of physical life when you can just move in the dimension of the soul and enjoy the universe. No Russian gas boycotts and no food crisis will bring you any problem. You come to taste new things, as the lady did in the machine yesterday. Mix garlic with orange juice and a banana and see how it comes. That's why the taste is so strange. Now you understand the science, and nobody can deceive. There will be no resurrection unless you decide. And there is no, this is my body and this is my blood. The gamemanship is over. And it's for you to understand. It's you who decide by the strength of your soul. Like the girls decided to free their mom or became independent, the mothers felt. Because it was done with a pure intention. And the girls knew the mother suffered. And they was received with open arms and one went for the first time walking on their own. Because they had to wait upstairs while these four were going through the test. Any other question?
Okay, I think we're ready for Alexander. And we have
Portuguese.
Rafael as translator.
Can I ask if you, before we go to Alexander, please go and sign as knowledge seekers for satellite and for what we call mobile system, and especially to come in for transmutation in the Lens Center in next 2 or 3 months. We got to get as many as you possible in, that we can bring a balance, what we call culture around the world. And this time it'll be all of us and not a few. Okay.
O Rafael Alexandre, Brasil.
Sim, pode falar, Alexandre, por favor.
Primeiramente, gostaria de dar bom dia a todos e agradecer pela oportunidade de estar ouvindo essas aulas tão maravilhosas. A minha pergunta é simples. No caso da gente estar fazendo, por exemplo, um GANS através de um medicamento ou através de algum alimento, como saber a porcentagem certa que a gente deve tomar, beber essa água uma vez de feito desse GANS?
So, Alexandre, first of all, thank you very much for being part of these teachings, to be able to listen to all this. And his question is very simple. He's asking, in case we do against of a medication or a food, for example, how do we know the percentage of that medication that we need to put inside the gas?
That's, you have to ask the doctors. We prefer to keep away from this. Doctors who work with the foundation should be able to tell you. In respect to the food, you provided Bodytex what it needs from it.
Ok. E para entrar em contato com os médicos, Rafael, como é que eu faço?
And he's asking, how can I get in touch with the doctors, please?
In Brazil, you have a number of doctors who work, and you got to find them through the Brazilian community. We have quite a few ladies doctors in what we call Brazilian community.
Ok. Posso fazer mais uma pergunta?
He's asking if he can make another question.
Yeah.
Sim, por favor.
Ok, obrigado. Mr. Cash, nos anos de 1980, eu tive uma experiência muito interessante. E nessa experiência, é de uma prática espiritualista que eu faço, chama-se arte marcada, e transmitia uma energia pela mão. E nessa ocasião, a pessoa que estava recebendo essa energia, houve um caso da pessoa começar a falar, vá por até esse pedaço aí, Rafael, senão tem um pedacinho depois maior.
Tenta ser o mais rápido na pergunta.
Tá.
Alexandre, eu traduz tudo de uma vez.
Ok. E nessa ocasião, manifestou um espírito de uma pessoa que estava apossado nessa pessoa, e eu era muito novo nessa prática. E tinha uma outra pessoa que tinha muita experiência, chamada de orientador, começou a orientar esse espírito falando em japonês. E tinha uma outra pessoa orientava em japonês, por quê? Ele só falava japonês. E tinha uma outra pessoa ao lado que entendia japonês e português. E o que ela fazia? Ela traduzia o que que a pessoa falava de português
Alexandre,
para
só um
japonês.
Tenta fazer sua
Sim.
pergunta, para o pessoal não esperar muito. Qual é a
Tá.
sua pergunta?
A minha pergunta é o seguinte: nessa ocasião, acontecia a pergunta em japonês, aliás, tinha a resposta em japonês e a pergunta era feita em português. E a pessoa que estava recebendo essa informação, esse espírito, conseguia entender plenamente como isso acontece a nível de alma.
So Alexandre was explaining about an experience that in the 80s, a spiritual experience that he had where he was able to communicate through the, let's say, the soul level with a person, and that person was receiving a kind of spirit or something. And in that process, the person was able to another
Sorry,
language.
Raphael, we can't hear you. Alexander, could you move the microphone away from your mouth because it's too
Alexandre,
loud?
você pode desligar o seu microfone um segundo só para eu poder traduzir, por favor? Obrigado. So Alexandre was explaining about the experience that he had in the 80s, a spiritual experience where he was in touch with this person and he was transferring energy to that person, and that person received like a spirit or something where he was able, that person was able to speak in Japanese and other languages also. And he would like to know what this experience is about, and if you can explain about it.
I don't understand.
Yes, I think he's trying to, that's what I understood. I think he's trying to connect with what you were explaining about the lady understanding, for example, other language after using the units. If that process that person start to talk in other language, maybe it was the same process as happened with the German lady talking English. I believe that's
Could
what's...
be. Yeah, could be. Everything is possible. Now we understand it. Everything now we understand is limitation of our own and nothing else. We've seen it, people who try to go through that transition or try to speak. When they lose that fear, they receive it. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Alexander and Raphael. Azar has a hand up here. It's next.
Good morning, Mr. Cash. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I said maybe I should ask. When we talk in the past, with all the transmutation, I mean, the prophet in the past they did, and then the human, the way it's born, the body, the way the body works, and there's so many factors in the body that we don't understand. But then from your teaching in the past, we said, you said we have the iron, which is the iron, which is in the earth, also iron in our blood, which is the hemoglobin. Then we have the oxygen in the atmosphere, which is we breathing. So oxygen also another element in our body, part of the amino acid. We have oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen. Then we have the deuterium in the deep space. And also we have the carbon-14, which is also in deep space, but deuterium is the fuel of the space. But then the way our body works and the way we can actually I was thinking about, you talk about when you upward on the planet Earth, you are kind of like you're in a space already, because if you look at the planet is going around and you're sticking out of the planet, you are already in a space. So we already have all these paths to travel anywhere we want, but the only thing is we're not familiar with it. So in fact, if we can somehow manage the body the way you're testing it in the center with transmutation, we ourselves do it, because everything is there, just like a path is there, but we never used it. Now it's for us to start using the path we already was offered to us, but we never used it. Am I correct to say this? Like we can change the ratio of the oxygen to deuterium or carbon, and start to travel and then communicate, and all these possibilities with just managing the element in the body? I don't know if I convey the message correctly.
It's not the elements, it's the field. Elements is in the matter state. To transmute, you have to learn the art of working with fields.
So the field of the field in the body, the field of universe. So because when you talk about the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, these are matter.
You see, it goes back in a deeper way than what you're talking about. In one of the intros, we talk about it in a very clear way, but a lot of knowledge is just listen to it. We are made out of the rays of the sun, and the sun itself is made of rays of other structures and other structures which led to. So in essence, we have the whole of the creation to the man. Because when a star is born, all the physical entities in the universe, as they are connected to each other by fields, have a say what this planet is going to be and what is created on this planet. So we are connected to it. And does it need to be called carbon-14? Does it mean it's called oxygen? Or we call it the fields of the universe? Which field has connected to which, to where, to come? It's very much, as I explained before, it's like a power generation. Being a nuclear physicist in power game, I can explain to you this way, which you understand very well, I think. We take the energy, doesn't matter from nucleus, doesn't matter from waterfall, doesn't matter from boiling or whatever. We create that electric current in power stations. We cannot connect you directly to the power station. You can be connected if you step down in the power station. But we take this energy from the power station, so many megawatts or whatever. We put it through the cable lines. We bring it to a substation to reduce it to steps that can be transmitted further down, and then we take it to another substation, and then to another substation, and to a little substation somewhere near you or up the road that you can link into it. So you still can go directly to the power station, the mother, or you can go to the subs. And that's what the human race is. You're connected as end of the one of the substation divisions of the field of the creator, which is that major power station. So you have the ability to be connected to the power station, but are you there to be able to use the energy which produces it? When it produces, that energy has to be consumed. Or if you're weak enough, you get blown up because the energy is so much, because you cannot handle it. And man is in the same process. You have to learn how to handle the fields of the universe. And that's the key, that's the secret. Not if you're carbon-14, you're oxygen and blah, DD, and the rest of it. When you're in the matter state, yes, you explain this way, and that's how it is. As I said, I speak the language of a toddler, and I speak the language of the professor. And both understand, because the knowledge is the same, but it's diluted different ways. Do you need the carbon-14? What is carbon-14? It's taking shape in the matter state, but the actions of energy. And what's the difference? Carbon-14 as a carbon, or was it a carbon-14 as a gas? It's the same. It's the energy in different ways. One gives a construction physically, one gives the energy interlinking. And it all goes the same. If you hear a voice, is there joy or is it a pain, or is it what they call misunderstanding? And we hear the same voice. One of us cries with it, one of us is angry with it, and one of us doesn't know what to do with it. It's very interesting. Listen, Iranian, just listen to what comes out of Iran. The guy speaks about we have to stop these people and the rest of it. And a bunch of people say, hooray, yes, blah, blah. The others say, doesn't matter who it is, it's the same. And the others get angry, but this guy is doing this and suppressing us and the rest. It's the same voice. It creates different emotion according to the level of belief and understanding and intellect in three different people. It's no different in the work of the universe. No difference. Now you tell me.
Mr. Cash, I think because the reason with the iron and oxygen and deuterium, these are from old teaching when we're talking about it. I think
because this is what people could understand.
Yeah, because
now
there's a confusion.
More.
Yeah, because there's a confusion. People trying to use this matter state to try to figure this thing out, which in fact we have to understand the field and start to feeling the field and get more acquainted with that part than trying to look at it.
When we speak about conditions of, for example, carbon-14, universe, and deuterium, we're not talking about electrons, we're talking about the energy fields and how they connect. It's not that two electrons jump all the way across the universe of the carbon-14. It's the energy which represents that carbon-14 in that specific point in the universe. Further down, it could be the energy of the carbon-12. There's a lot of understanding. You have to look at the totality. And we have to go step by step.
Thank you,
Any
Mr.
other
Cash.
question? Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question in the Q&A. It's still a bit mysterious to me, but perhaps you'll get the gist of it if I go through the questions from Paulo of the Brazilian community. So
You all
has
get all
been-
the strange questions from the Brazilians, huh?
It's been
They
translated.
become mysterious group.
Yes, sometimes something gets lost in the translation. Perhaps we can find something in this translation.
It's
So
very
start-
interesting. Well, sorry, it's very
Sorry, go
interesting. We had a communication with a Chinese group, and they say they are learning now more about the technology from the Brazilian teachings than anywhere else. So Brazilians are teaching the Chinese and the rest. Keep up with the work.
They're quite active, that's for sure. They're probably the most active of the groups of Keshe communities.
Yeah.
Okay, he says, Mr. Keshe, if we are the image of the creator, and now we have been allowed this access to the science of creation by you, then the affections born of reason need to be stronger than singular things. In other words, there can be no more singularity. I ask, what singularity that still exists that you would like to bring down in the scientific world so that there can be no more doubts that finally humanity has reached the science of creation?
There is no singularity. You're still singular because you create a condition of a confirmation of existence. But you do not exist if the baker and the butcher and the candlestick maker are not there. You decide how much meat you get a butcher and how much bread you get from a baker and how much light you need from candlestick maker. And that makes your home, and that makes your food, that makes your energy, and what you want to do with it. So individuality is decided by physicality and dimension of the strength of the soul. But collectively, you're part of the same building. You're a brick in the wall. Any other question?
Yeah, we had a question in YouTube that I was asked to ask you, and it's in 3 comments in the YouTube. I have to ask them all together. So it's from Katie. I think it's someone new. I haven't seen them before in YouTube, who says, hello, good morning, Mr. Keshe. My question has nothing to do with the workshop, but it is important for me to ask. Is it possible that by transmutation, an intergalactic dog from another planet comes down to Earth and has psychic abilities, such as telepathy? And what would they be, the characteristics that distinguish a terrestrial dog from a dog that comes from another planet?
Does a dog exist in other planets? Or is Back to the Future a magnetic field? Possibly there's a dog exists in the universe, or characteristics of a dog, or a human, or in essence, the soul and physicality and condition of the environment dictates if it's going to be a dog or a cat or whatever. But in essence, what effect we have on each other is the same as what that dog will have from anywhere of the universe on all of us. Depends how we worship it or how we accept it as the dog. Because it can bark differently and it has a bigger, what they call it, a smarter tail and move. Any other question?
We have Dean here. Go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I haven't really got a question as such, Mr. Keshe. Just what I've been listening, as I usually do. Thank you for all your wonderful teachings and the experiences you're sharing with humanity. How do you sense, Mr. Keshe, the field expansion beyond the Linz exhibition? Is this expansion still happening?
We hear even in one of the last recordings, that people who come nowadays, they feel the fields upstairs. They feel they enter a zone or dimension. And as we add more and more systems, yes, we see the expansion of the fields in Linz and wherever it might be going. But definitely the UNO Center is within that environment. We feel their fields, we feel their energies, and people tell you when they come in, they feel it.
Mr. Kesh, so people traveling from other nations, can they give an energy transfer of a thought, of a manifestation, or something they would like to receive or would like to see? And then when they come to the exhibition, will this manifestation, this matter, can it be reproduced for them?
We had the German couple, one of them was Russian, if you remember, a few weeks ago. And they're the first couple who are going to the moon as part of the, what do you call it, transmutation to space next year. The two decided before they come in to find what they call the Russian Christ. They have a name for it, or equivalent to Christ in Russia. And when they came in, when they went through the system, both of them saw or felt what they came here to do. If they had that power to do outside, they would have done it. They would have achieved it. But when they came into the system, they understood they can do it, and they achieved it. And the beauty of it is that now they can possess it, they can carry on with it. Then the connection comes. Do you still need the church and the rest when they are directly in touch, or see and feel and can ask questions from the soul of the Christ himself? So they wished it, they came in, they got it. We had many people who come in and say, we don't want to apply. Yesterday I was talking to one of the knowledge seekers who went through the system. I said, would you like to go to the moon travel? He says, I have no intention of going to space. I'm here just to help the foundation to extend the knowledge and confirmation of the system. But if your desire is, if you come in and you can reach it, yes. That's a command. Few people we had like this.
Have we had any people, Mr. Kesh, you think, that have come in that have had completely different thoughts and intentions that that we as knowledge seekers wouldn't have experienced before, even the thought, the intention? So would we receive a new communication from something that we wouldn't even know about?
Most probably. Most probably, if you open the right door, you come to the right place. Or if you open the door of the field transfer, whatever, what's the interaction of the fields and what you gather from it? What is behind that door, as you call it?
We all we get so used to what we see and touch and feel, and what our thoughts in this condition and on the planet, and many people love it. However, there are, as you just said, there are many other doors and other places, even within the structure of the planet. So it'd be interesting.
I'm gonna ask you something very, very different.
Okay.
Yesterday, when we went through the test with this couple who transmuted and the other 4 couples, you were sitting in the control room, playing with your screen and whatever you're doing there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel anything, what they went through in there?
I get now and again. I hear things and I sense certain things. I sense emotions. So something, I can't explain it more than that, really. I do sense some things sometimes, yes.
What did you hear yesterday?
To me, yesterday, I said to one of the knowledge seekers, or someone present, that it sounded like children, and it wasn't. And I realized afterwards, but I get voices of all sorts of different things. And
What do you mean it sounded like children?
it sounded like a child was speaking, but it wasn't. And then other times I've had adults, and I've had hear other sorts of noises, obviously being very close to the proximity of the flight room. And then also I've heard now and again, I hear other things going on that I don't, it may be an animal, it may be something I don't recognize.
So you're in the window. It depends what comes through the open window in a way.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. That's why I asked the question. I suppose I'm being led by this one. I didn't have a question, but now as soon as it's the usual thing when you listen to your soul, you just let it come out as you do. You just don't try to control. Things happen and it just flows. And so the question that opened up was, what experiences, what other intentions are we receiving that we would not normally know about, but may be present for us to to elevate, to become more.
We go through these things step at a time, and we realize things step at a time. We have no choice because it's the soul which does it. And sometimes we ignore it. Sometimes we take it as nothing happened. It's nothing to it. It's just like the couple. The guy is sitting in the front seat of the transfer system. Every time you ask him, he says, nothing happened. I'm not feeling anything. Nothing happened. And when we put him back on the chair, he feels the partner and his vibrations. Oh, I had this vibration in this seat. But the interesting is that even the lady who went through the process yesterday, she tells us she's getting pulled to the left to go to the other unit. All of them. It means the pull, the gravitational field of the other side is so that they all want to go there.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Kess? Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't want. Do you need to finish that before I ask?
No, carry on.
So, is it relevant to where you are born in physicality on the planet? Why do you get born to a certain position physically in a certain nation? Is there any explanation for that?
Ask your mom and dad why they were in that place time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else, because don't forget, it's the womb of the mother which creates that condition for that. It's interesting because I had this discussion with Dr. Elia Kostova a few times years ago. And I was explaining this in different ways. If we create a field of the same parents, the same couple, and if we have moved them, let's say, from China into England, would the same, if we could choose the same egg and the sperm, would have the same characteristics if they were born in China or in England? The womb of the mother is the same, the sperm and egg same, but the environmental fields are different. The food culture is different. So our environment has a say in our way. and how, and can never be the same. And the mother creates different environment and different. She's Chinese. She comes to England, is still pregnant, gets a child. But the pressures, the worries, whatever, missing home will affect the child. Then it should have had a child in China. Those don't exist, so we don't think about it. But then other conditions exist. There she has to deal with the mother-in-law, this, and then the child behavior. We know this, that children who have abusive father prior to birth, while they're in the womb of the mother, could be physical abuse, could be psychological abuse, many of them will end up with the skin defects. Because the skin is part of the brain, it carries the emotion. And the emotion of the mother, which is transferred to the womb, is absorbed by the emotion of the child, which manifests itself in the skin of the child. Many doctors, nowadays you go, they give you cortisone, this is a first problem, it cannot be solved. Go back and ask the mother, what was the problem? Why did you suffer? What was the condition of the suffering when I was in your womb? The worries, the physical condition which was created in the environment. And then you can trace it back where it exactly comes from. Nowadays, we see a lot of defects in children, a lot of problems when the children are born. We try to explain everything to do with it, but no one has stood still, go back to the mother and the father. What psychological abuses were going on in that house? That now we see the manifestation in childbirth. This is part of the structure. We ignore it. We always deal with the accident repairing the car, but we don't try to find out the problem is the brake, which is changing. So when we look at how our children are, how we react, how the society will change, is what have we created for that society? We always deal with the end accident, but we don't touch the source. Most of the skin problems, most of the, some of the diabetic one is connected with the cycle of the birth, the field the mother has created in that womb. You just look at that and see what's the condition of a diabetic one. You look at the way the child was born in those few hours of the birth when she goes through or he goes through the birth tunnel, what pressures and conditions were on the child, on the fetus. And then you see the diabetic one. We try to find medicine for it, but we don't find the cause of it. And then if we can change that condition, you get a person with no diabetes. And this is the same. Conditions, environments we create, it gives us an end product. End product is an amalgamation of whatever conditions we create.
Mr. Kesh, you said that you can go back, you can ask your parents. So what if a parent is no longer in physicality? You can still send the intention, the energy, and receive the energy back in that flow?
We had a Polish girl, if you remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago. They came from London, she came from London. The mother died years ago, the grandmother died years ago. I think she's listening, most probably she knows exactly who she is. she went back to the mother and grandmother system, finding out the problem and sorting out the problem between the mother and the grandmother while she was there as well. And the breast cancer is on the left, which is a sign of connection to the mother. And I said to her, now you understand. Let us know if anything changes in the condition of the tumor. You hope you could see mom yesterday or tonight in dreams or whatever. Now understanding it, you can instruct the soul, you know. I'm going to see my mom today. You tell your husband, take me to my mother. Your husband now is your soul. Take me to my mother, and I want to speak to my mom, and I know exactly what I want to ask. We have a knowledge, the total knowledge you can see here in the panel who do that, and they've tried it, and they know they can. They've been through the system, understand how it works. So you learn the process, and you don't need to wait. One day I dream I can go to the grandmother and ask a question. You use the line of communication of the soul, and you go to grandmother. If she's busy today, ask again tomorrow if she's there to do. It's become very scientifically, everything is possible now.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That so people don't need the flight experience. You can ask your soul, you can ask for the energy, and you can go back and have this connection, this flow. For many people listening, many that are who are not going to experience the flight as such in Linz, they can still connect and still have these experiences. So that's that interaction of the what I spoke about earlier, where the amplification, the field strength that is emanating and going across and touching much further than Linz and out further across the nation and the nations and across the planet. This direct connection that is
many people who come to us, been there how many hundreds now? They all say, for some of them, that they can still connect to the system when they want. So we can. And there is no limitation. It's just how to find it, how to connect.
So when they need that connection to an energy source to feed or to correct an emotion or to enjoy an emotion, they can connect in any moment.
What do you mean by that?
So the possibility is to you spoke about this many times and across the teachings, where mankind will come to a position where it will realize it's always had these capabilities to receive anything in abundance, and maybe we are the filtering process and the adjustments to the field, the energy interactions are becoming apparent that the energy is there. You just need to tap into it and formulate it.
It doesn't need formulating, it needs to be understood. That's all.
When you say understood, Mr. Keshe,
it's a knowledge.
It's a knowledge, yeah. So when one receives the knowledge, do all receive the knowledge? And so if one receives the knowledge,
depends what you tap in. it's like one receives the knowledge to be a doctor, do we all become a doctor? But this time, the doctor is the soul. And everybody has a right to part of it as they want. It's a complication we created through lack of our own understanding. Otherwise, it's not that complicated.
I see somebody just put in the chat that give more to receive more. That, you know, it's the ethos of the foundation. So it's becoming that giving situation. So always
the thing is, give more, but don't expect more. You understand?
It's a difficult one for mankind, for humanity to keep
more.
giving and giving and sense.
Listen, you and I exactly know what we're talking about exactly today.
I know.
We from the foundation side, we have given everything within the structure of the foundation for bringing a huge change, and we hope we receive enough to be able to expand, bring changes for all humanity. But it's not that we give more to receive more. Even when we receive more, say we don't need it, give to the others who need it. That's the way it works. And even today, we are in that position. We have given so much, expecting that it will become that allows the changes. We're not expecting to get more. Some of us understand it, some of us become painful, the process, but that's what it is. It's sometimes a test of time, how and who we are and what we can accept, how much we can accept. What the Keshe Foundation has gone through in the past 11, 12 months to bring that change. I have aged 10 years in the past 12 months, trying to get this through because I know it'll bring the change which is needed. But maybe it's not time for it yet. Maybe tomorrow is, maybe this afternoon, maybe next week. And it's just how much you get tested, how much you can take. I tolerate a lot, and I go through a lot of it to see it going through. But you knowledge seekers cannot even imagine what the foundation and us have gone through and going through to see this change coming through. We have sacrificed everything. No sacrifice, we invested everything to see that change. Not just financially, from our own strength, our own patience, our own meditation. But we know it's for the change which is to come, and the time for it be there. The time, the second is chosen, is not by us. But everything else is there. As I said, we just found out this morning why there has been a delay, and it's shocking what the delay was, but now we're trying to find another way around to do it totally. But why the delay? What happened in the past and what is there to come with a change of it? When I explained, we start reaching the world leaders through the center, you'll be amazed how we can change things. We start the process, we start leading from the front through technology and knowledge. We don't wait for you to tell us who needs what needs. In the coming days and weeks, we will not work with knowledge seekers. We run the center as a headquarters for running the world government. You will understand very soon. To them, it's not possible. To us, is as we know the system, it works for them. And then when we tell you we bring the more leaders, is when we've done all the work. It's for the knowledge seekers and the Universal Council to see what power is within their grasp.
Thank the Creator, Mr. Keshe. Sorry, Mr. Keshe. Thank the Creator for your beautiful soul. It's funny how you, as you're speaking now, I feel this warmth, this like a big fatherly hug, and the sun is just glistening through. It's a beautiful moment. Thank you so much.
We're all in it. We're all part of it. You're suffering, I'm suffering, and other people around us. We've seen everything else, but all is not wasted. It's just that we are a break in the wall, and that wall needs to become steady that it doesn't fall. And as I said, it's time for the mortar to solidify, to dry, that it can be a solid wall. You can't build a building on a concrete which is not dried. And it's not time for it to take root. And we are in that transition. And in past 10, 12 months, everything has been put in to bring that transition. It's brought a lot of problems for many knowledge seekers, groups of us who work around the Keshe Foundation in past 12 months. But there is no choice. We have to go through it. And I see the future. I see what it'll bring. I see what it'll do. But either way, we are all getting tested for it. Within and around the foundation, with our workers, with our centers, everything else, with our factories. And we are tested to the limit. But it's there, it's for all the humanity. In a few months' time, I'm not there as to do the same as I done a few months ago, because the conditions we set up to bring that physical change. And now we set up to bring the change to the world leadership from immense. You will understand very soon what that center will do. The system set up in it. We don't need to go to the world leaders. We bring the world leaders to accept the elevation of their soul. And that will bring the elevation of the nations. Let's see that.
Thank you,
Any
Mr.
other
Keshe.
question?
Thank you for taking my question. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Any other question?
Yes, we had a question on agriculture from Antonio in YouTube. Is there an agriculture technology device that is going to be released soon? Not the CO2 gas unit, which can be ordered, or is this one and the same?
No, there's a new units. We just have, the whole concentration of the Keshe Foundation at the moment in development has gone on 3 specific projects, and literally we're geared up around the world with it. One is the new enhancement unit. One is the vertical unit, and one is the gas unit. The new gas unit is a generator. We explain that in the future. If what we're working on now, as just spent a few minutes ago with Dean, takes shape in next day or 2 or a week, because now we found out where the block has been after 2 weeks of the struggle. We can get it sorted with our people. Keshe Foundation will run a program, as I said last week, sharing the technology on what I call a blueprint program, on confirmation of all our things from both governments and knowledge seekers. And this will bring the change. This will bring rapidly the change we're looking for. And Keshe Foundation will not sell this technology. We keep the rights of it, but we share the technology that we get what we call the benefit of it, that we can support other programs of the Keshe Foundation. If we reach the point we want to in the next few days, we will teach you how to make the gas units and how to make the generation of it, how to feed yourself from it, that you never ever in your life need to rely on no one to feed you or cut your gas supply or increase the production of whatever. This is a promise that we'll keep, and this is part of the work of One Nation, One Program. You don't have a social security to feed you or to look after you. We make the knowledge available that secures the social life of the community and the nation as one nation. This is the responsibility of leading such operation and organization like Keshe Foundation. Which means the way you get programs on televisions or whatever in your nation, how to make or how to bake a cake, that if you have it, you can have it, or how to look after yourself in flood condition or disaster, we teach you how to make these units. Those of you who mass produce it, you return funds back to the foundation. Those of you who use it for yourself, still look after the foundation. And this becomes the basis for the next generation of works of the Keshe Foundation. We have to secure what we started, and that was the whole purpose. And in that process, we need to understand the totality of what we are about to do. We have to secure the future of the Keshe Foundation for centuries to come, not for a decade, not for a week. And what we've done in the past 12 months is that security we're looking for. Once we establish that security, we will open the books of the Keshe Foundation in every direction of the knowledge that every nation has an access to it, is governing through technology and the knowledge of the man, and not governing by the banking system and the rest. You know, we've done this before through the enhancement unit. We've done this before through MagLab system. We've done this in blueprints. This time, there is no government to stop the Keshe Foundation. But this time, we have established a center where the world leaders will come to answer for their conducts and how they can participate, how they can bring their nations to be as part of one nation, and what they can serve the humanity with. It's a different ballgame. In a very simple way, we start governing. And to govern as one nation, you have to get everything right, that every nation gets exactly the same, that there are no differences. And we see how we extend this. And we see how we can allow this to take shape. We see how we can bring this position apart as part of the Keshe Foundation work. You look at the flight system as somebody moves from one seat to another. We look at the flight system as part of the structure for you to understand, for perfecting the system that our people understand, to bring the seat of the governing to the Keshe Foundation. In the next few months and years, you'll understand exactly how we operated. The cuts, the boycotts, the ban on the internet, what they call it, on the news, has been a beautiful gift to us, that we are doing what we want to do, very silently underneath with the technology and development, but we bring in those who block the knowledge for us in there to become subordinate to the knowledge itself. Will you look at the links you come in there for whatever transmutation? We look at the links, especially with the tests we've done in the past 2 weeks, that links become the center of the governing of this planet through technology and knowledge. And we are not power hungry, we are peace hungry. And you will understand very soon. As I said yesterday, we did the first trial. The knowledge seeker is here to tell you that we are there, and we brought in for the first man, the most criminal mind on this planet at this moment, to be elevated yesterday by knowledge. This is governed. This is a seat of judgment of the soul of the man to receive, another seat of judgment to punish. Very, very soon, you knowledge seekers realize what I've done and how it's done. And very soon, the world will understand. The best thing for them was to cut us from the mayhem of being on the news every day, that we could allow us to do our work in quiet as knowledge seekers, and bring that change in a very, very quiet way. This is what I call a simmering fire, which is about to become an inferno. But with it, it brings peace, it brings prosperity, it brings the equality of the man, not only here, but across the universe. And you will understand what I've done, even to create so much suffering. As I said to one of the knowledge seekers very soon, they put Christ on the cross. They put me on the banner of trying to see how I can actually burn that cross and bring the knowledge to man correctly. But it's the same man. Last time was a women's rape. This time is the humanity as a whole. But they will work out. And we'll see the change. Very, very short. You will question the integrity of the soul of the Pope. And then it's the soul which has to dictate what the physicality has to do. Most probably the time will have the soul of the Pope and the Universal Council within the seats of the prince. He will resign and then bring an end to Catholics. We don't need to do it. Otherwise the enemies have done it. But when you burn from inside, you have no one to blame. We do the same with the kings. Now you understand what I said last week brings to forth this week, because now the test is done. We ask you to become mobile, what we call transmutation. But now we have rules that for the first time, the mobile transmutation are one of the most notorious people on this planet. Now we start bringing the world leaders to answer without them knowing they've been called to judgment of their own conduct. And a member of the Universal Council are there to do the judgment and elevate. The only judgment is to them, how much can we give them, how much more we have to give them to elevate them to be equal to the others. Now, maybe you understand what is about to hit you as what I call one planet, one nation, one race. You look to move from one box to another. We look to see the test, if we can do, and if we can bring the world leaders into it. Most probably, many of you who've been to this have sat in the seat that many of the world leaders will occupy to their soul in the coming days and weeks. We will not operate on, we all will operate on Tuesday and Wednesdays for you to come in. But the rest of the week is open to us to bring the world leaders to answer to the judgment. Now you understand. Now we understand what is needed and why the Universal Council has been set up that way. Don't be surprised if you're a member of the Universal Council and call you to a meeting. Just to be present, because physically you might not understand it, but your soul is there to create that condition. And in a way, we bring the changes to the top, and we have to bring the changes to the other side through what is the daily need, energy, food, and whatever else. Just with a call, pray for us all, support us through your soul, that this blockage we have for past few months gets resolved today and tomorrow and changes the course of the day, because we all have participated. Any other question?
Yes, we have Miranez here next. Go ahead, Miranez.
Hi, Rick. Hello, Mr. Guest.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much. Please be more happy, because sometimes we feel your unhappiness. And
I have a very, very, very bad cold. We tested, it's not corona, but I've suffered heavily the past few days. And it's not easy. But it still has to be done. Things has to be done. Yeah, I'm sad for what the humanity is doing to yourself, to itself, and in a way we see the joys of the changes to come. The situation in Iran has brought a lot of what they call unwanted feelings, because I went through this when I was 19. I went through a revolution, I went through mass murders. And now I feel the same. People don't believe in what's going on because they don't show you. But as head of the Keshe Foundation, I receive videos which I do not want to share. I receive pictures of murders, plain brutal murders of the Iran national security, some people. We receive all sorts of news coming out which touches you. And that's why the decision was made to bring that change. And we have interacted with the soul of Ayatollah Khomeini. He is not alive, that's for sure. And we have the confirmation of it through the structure. But that's for the Iranians to sort out. As I said to some of the people who is giving the orders for these murders, the young, educated, and the rest. We don't take side in the politics. We are not from one side or the other. We are scientists, and we are looking at what we receive. As a head of the Keshe Foundation, everything is filtering up to me. I see the same as the time of Corona. We could see national security videos coming from China, where the Chinese wanted us to see how we can support it. 6, 7, 10 children put in one body bag in one hospital. Row after rows of body bags with children in it, which was coming out of Beijing and other cities. We closed our mouths. We watched it. We watched how people were locked up, and they sending out videos how they're dying, and the family has died in their rooms because of the sealed doors by the government. Now we see the other ways in Iran. I get these, and individually I have to handle it. In a way, I was trained for it during the young time when I was a negotiator between Iran, the British government, and the Iranian community was came from Iran to support. But people say this is all made up. What I see, nothing is made up. When I see youngsters being carried on the shoulder and put on a cycle, and whatever happens to them afterwards, what we see in the new news about a 16-year-old girl. We see these videos before it becomes public, becomes in knowledge. We see videos which comes right across from different knowledge seekers across Iran and outside of Iran. And people, they say, is people paid by foreigners or whatever. The position is, love your nation, nation will change. Don't kill your nation because it rises against you. And it's the same. We have the same problem now in North Korea. We see the sense of this in Russia. We see worse conditions coming up in the United States. But the only way we can change it is not fighting street by street battles between knowledge seekers and the rest, but to change the world leaders, the essence of their souls, the essence of what they want and what we want to achieve. And this brings you a lot of sadness. With the higher temperatures and the fever and everything else, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I keep on receiving from different directions what is happening around the world. And you need the heart of steel to stand this. Because every man fallen has a child, is a father, and is a son to somebody, and a mother and a husband to somebody else, or a wife to someone else. These things has to stop. If we bring the end of Islam, we are Americans, we are Zionists, we are foreigners. But if we support them, can you close your phone, please? If we support their souls to elevate, they can bring the end themselves to it without anybody suffering. And that's the whole purpose. And that's why I brought everything forward so fast. In the coming weeks, I'll be spending a lot of time in the exhibition center with the systems to change only the world leaders and nothing else. To elevate them, I will call upon you as Universal Council members and the supposed Universal Councils of human nation to come in to answer the question and elevate your leaders. As Italians wait very soon, with the call coming up on you. You have 2 responsibilities. One is for the Vatican and one for your new leader, your new prime minister. We don't want sentimentality. We want that was pure and can elevate the soul of the world. You should have seen what I saw in the system yesterday and the day before with the Dutch lady. How pain could be coming a joy to give to elevate another man who was a murderer. And then you know why you get sometimes sad. It's just finding a solution for it. Keshe Foundation is not just a factory that ends the whole of humanity and what has brought us. Plus all our private life and everything else which goes on the people who are around us. Any other question?
No, I haven't asked my question.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us your mind. Thank you very much. That's the history. It's a motive. Like maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I proposed to UCS meeting and some UCs that we absolutely have to have a soul connection for raising humanity and political leaders. And at the time, I thought that we can use foundations products. And I really thought it's just, we put everything on your shoulder and that's the least we can do with our souls. And like the Brazilians, beautiful work of Brazilians, I just wanted to that we copy that. And then I proposed it also. I let people know that every night at 9 o'clock European time, we collect our souls, and I'm always here. And we just get a moment and collect our souls to raise humanity and the political leaders, that they come to the way of peace. At first, it was just humanity. And the night after, I dreamed vividly that I'm there. People are coming, I'm attending them, take care of them, like in the pilgrimage for Karbala, people were coming, newcomers, and the others were taking care of them, washing their feet or giving them drink and things like that. So I was there, and these people are coming, and seemed like to me, seemed maybe like knowledge seekers, which are with me in connecting. So, and there was like one of them who had kidney problem, you know what I mean? And I asked him to wash himself, to take a shower, and he was refusing shyly. And then I wake up, I was tired of all this activity. And then I asked the knowledge seeker who were close, I said, anybody has kidney problem? You know, those I thought they are with me at 9 o'clock. And today I found that it was probably my own father, but didn't look like my father. But that's the only body I can see in this image. Just before he died, he had also problem of kidney, of course, a heart attack. Can it be possible that in my just letting myself sincerely in the whole space, I got to the other souls and dead people, and that my father could change his face, because that was for another goal. I was not connecting my father. When I connect him in my prayers or I'm in dream, I see him like he was. But this time, today I found that it might be my father. He was shying and away. And is it possible that he changed his look because he thought he's not supposed to be here? It's a bit complicated. I just like to find the mysteries of how we can go. And then I changed the way I was doing, and I put it just to raise the soul of all souls, to be more confirmed with other uses, and also political leaders to the way of peace. So it's lighter now. So do you think it's why do that person maybe change his appearance, his look, and why I was feeling like I received people, and it was work. It was hard work.
This is all what we can translate to our own condition, not necessarily what the reality is. And we always look at everything from our perspective, point of view. And maybe in it, sometimes we find an answer, sometimes we find a solution. And sometimes we interpret how to suit us in what we know. And this is the secret about what we envisage in our own lives. Very few people, very few people believe the other way. To put the totality ahead, or to put something ahead of themselves, to bring, to change, or to carry the information to bring action. And this is part of physical life. We don't have this problem in the dimension of the soul. You see, in a physical life, you get into the car, you go from A to B. And then whoever is at the point B has to accept it because you arrived. You go to the supermarket, they got to accept because you arrived at the supermarket because there are other people and you find your way to do. In a dimension of the soul, you use different strength to move around. And when you do that, everybody has to accommodate you. Because there is no point, no spot in the whole of the creation which is without fields. So somebody has to give for somebody to take. Somebody has to move to do proposition. It's very much, I always go back to beautiful job of Rick with all the magnets on the table. If you have 20 magnets and one is on the north, the ones on the south don't move, but you can move the north and you see the one on the east move a little. But if you come to the one in the south, it'll move. And the one in the north doesn't need to move. But we don't see the movement of the both ends because it's so minute, because everybody has to agree with it. And this is the beauty of understanding the work of the creation. This is to understand the cycle of creation. You go to the dimension of physicality because it's comfortable for you. But if you go into the dimension of the soul, it brings those changes for you. And this is what you need to learn. And this is, if you look at the teaching of the recording of this morning, I asked the, the couple to reach the parents. One wanted a flag. Sorry, flag is not on the move, but the other, both of them wanted connection with the mother because they have that emotional connection with the mother. They know the mother is suffering and the mothers received the message because they went through the soul. Sorry, the flag company was closed today. And this is how it will be. You want to reach the soul of the whole leader, but can you be as cruel as him toward the matter of your people? Or can you give enough to him that he finds ashamed to be in the body of man? And this is what the future holds. This is what we have to decide, siphon which one is for us and which one is not for us, and which one with it we can do better for the others, not for us. Any other question?
Thank you very much.
For us. You're welcome. You got to look at it the other way. You know how many families in Russia are suffering now? How many under the name of a soldier are dying in Ukraine? How many have escaped not to be killed and they left their family, the children, the mothers and fathers to be across somewhere that they don't want to get involved in killing another? We look at it, but we don't want to understand it. Haven't we seen this before? Called the Vietnam War, where Americans refused to take up arms and escaped to Canada and Mexico, and some went to prison for it, but they would not kill another man. The name has changed from US to Russia. Those who refuse to take up arms. And what would be changed in the world leaders to change that position? Otherwise, in the next few years, there will be another country in the same position. Why do we see armed Palestinians on the street of Iran killing people? Because they get paid good salaries. None of the people killed in Iran are killed by the hand of Iranians. Why do we have this in other parts of the world? Why do we have the animosity and the problem we have in Palestine? Why do we have Palestinians in Iran killing people? If you would have given them a nation and say, would they do such a thing? What is the next? Which country is going to be in the hands of revolution in the next few months when there's a hunger and shortage of energy, or something else in Europe, if we get to that point? some people walk with a gun, some walk with a voting. We saw in Italy why people have voted the far right to get rid of the foreigners or blame everybody on the foreigners. Now the situation is tight. It's the same policy, just different shape of using the power. A world leader has to create the right condition for all the people in that nation. And this is what we don't have in our world leaders. Maybe it's the time to end up the leadership and collectively we did ourselves to a new base. Any other question?
I know you want to wrap things up. Do a couple more things. John Wells has a question here. What information do you have, Mr. Kesh, about the material I sent you 2 weeks ago through Telegram? If you want to reveal anything. Sounds very mysterious.
No, I cannot. I don't even remember. I get hundreds of thousands of messages around the world every day. And suddenly,
perhaps he can resend it or remind you if it's urgent.
if it is, I don't understand. Just fake news. Yeah, I put that as a fake news. I just looked at it. I put it down as a fake news. Next question.
Okay. The other thing is, I wanted to tell people about the event coming up that you're supposed to be talking at.
Where?
Maybe you don't know yet.
I have
This
seen
is
something. Is that on Saturday the 8th something?
Yes, Saturday the 8th. That's right, exactly. So this is the Biomed Expo.
Do you know this guy organizes it and put me in there without asking me?
No.
He's
Put you in the
one
number one position, the top left there, Professor Mehran Kesh.
Yeah, he's done that a few times, and he just calls and he cannot organize himself. He's worse organized than the Keshe Foundation when it comes to this thing. But
maybe he just liked your nice suit and tie and looked really good in the top left corner there.
No, I know what you're talking
I think
about.
they want you. They definitely want you there. So to let people know, that's on, like you said, Saturday, October 8th. And I believe it's from 7 to 8 p.m. Central European time. Does that sound correct to you?
I don't know. I received this from Knowledge Seekers. He's never told me. I can't remember. But it's one of those guys who does this.
I'm told it's from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. So since you're 9 hours ahead, due to my calculations say it'll be 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. CEST time. I believe that's correct. Correct and still standing corrected. And there's a link to join the webinar. I can put that in our chat here so that people have that. And we'll make an announcement to spread that around as well.
This guy doesn't know. Don't forget, we used to participate in a lot of things like this and a lot of interviews. And since at an standing situation, we are very wary of who we give talk or where we give a talk to, and we curtailed it very, very strongly to more or less zero. Public, accepting public presentations and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Curtailing this was important because we noticed that these people have other intentions. But this one, the guy is just what I call a space freak. I know. He wants to go to planet Zeus.
Seems that way. Okay, so, and people can go to biomedexpo.com, all one word, biomedexpo.com. And if they want more information, and you can also register if you want to take in all 4 days with all these people. And that costs, I think, $99 US for the 4 days. But the one event will be free for people to go into the Zoom webinar, as far as I know.
Yep. No, we know about this. It's part of why we are very careful, extremely careful who even we bring into foundation now. It's because we found out that a lot of people coming in using especially the groups to get access and then trying to what I call butter their way into other things to get access to a vast network of the Keshe Foundation. And now we're becoming why we've seen even people coming commercializing shareholdings and that kind of using the chats, and we're putting them down very rapidly. And other aspects of child abuse and everything else as we saw. Well, very soon, because now is some legality to it, very soon we'll open why Keshe Foundation has become so closed in the past 2-3 years. Unfortunately, we found out that one of the biggest pedophile organizations in the world was using the Keshe Foundation, merging others together using the inner connections of the Keshe Foundation. And this matter now is in the hand of the courts. How the Keshe Foundation was used people who infiltrated it even in the education section of the Keshe Foundation. And they were backing themselves up after we put an understanding in prison. They found another way to get in, which we stopped it 2 years ago. And that's the reason we don't give that much interviews. We get a lot of requests for presenting the technology. This way is better for us. Knowledge comes from the people who search for the knowledge. Then we're going out and trying to bring and inform people of the knowledge. They'll find it out themselves. And one of the biggest pedophile organizations in the world on the back of an understanding infiltrated the Keshe Foundation. And the matter now is with the courts, and then we'll open up once the court case is complete. How they've used us giving interviews, us bringing people as even teachers, pretending to be teachers, to get access to the database of the Keshe Foundation. It's amazing how things are done, but we learn ourselves. And this is, I think, is the only interview or presentation I give once a year to this guy or twice, because it's an international structure in US. Anyway, we'll keep you in the picture very soon. What's going on?
Mr. Keshe, just last thing about satellite people who come for satellite or other enhancement. I imagine, do you have a place for people who want to do it privately without others not knowing they're there?
What do you mean?
Like maybe people who want to come to be satellite, or they want to...
Satellite, you don't come to Linz. Satellite people, you stay in your own country. You don't need to travel. Those who come from transmutation, they come to Keshe Foundation, Linz. Satellites, you stay put in your homes. We use your structure in a different way. The mobile, people who sign for mobile, we try to move you from your place into Linz. It's a different application, different participation.
and the person has to fill the application and in the
Yes,
soul.
yes. It's exactly the same. You want to be satellite, you still have to register, you still have to pay the fees. If you're what do you call mobile, it's the same. And if you come to Linz, now the team in Linz have gone two ways. We have the people who come from transmutation. We have some people in the past applied to just do the to be part of the trial test of the simulation. We have separated a couple of days to complete those, but each one is different. But we need a lot of satellite people. It's just strengthening the change.
Or maybe some people.
Pardon?
Please continue.
We're setting up, in a way, we are looking for ambassadors of peace. In a way, we are looking for structuring the opening of a new dimension. It's not that you become just to be there. We are looking for people who volunteer their soul to spread. When the time comes in the near future, then what comes from us to them to their own language, translation, and people. You will understand very soon. We can do that with all the souls of humanity, Mongo. But as it goes by culture, language, and whatever, we have to change the ingrain of the man. And this is the only way it can be done. You had enough messengers. None of them managed to do it. This time, we do it through the message of the soul directly from man. We need hundreds and hundreds of satellite people. And it's the same with the people. With those who volunteer for mobile, is for us developing technology. There's no other participation in it. But satellite people become like the members of Universal Council. They become the arm length of them in a way once it's completed. It's something you need to accept to be part of and commit yourself to it.
Yes, and for example, in enhancement units, is it some people may need some more time? They're in middle of something. Do they have to cut after 30 minutes or something?
We don't do that. It's just that we with the enhancement unit, especially with the transmutation, we spend 1, 2, 3 hours doing things. Is when you come in for transmutation, is for us to perfecting our system, understanding our own system, understanding the limitation of. When you, as I said to a couple of our Dalai seekers who came in for transmutation, next time when they come, please get a train and come to Linz. Do not come in the car. Get a bus or get a plane. Don't drive to Linz, because if you came by, what do you call it, transmutation, we send you back, or people who come to us for testing transmutation, as part of it, we'll send you back, your car stays behind. What do you want us to do with it? Man creates a lot of debris. In the next few weeks, we'll get to that point.
Very interesting.
Where you got to understand it's hidden in our work a lot. Like today, you listen to the wishes of the two beautiful women there, that they send a wish to their mom, and the mom received it. The next time the wish is, I want to be home with mom, but I'm in Linz. There are reasons we do this test. It's not just we done a test and mom wished and they wished and the mom. Now they know the location, they know the number. Next time we create a facility, they can go to mom cooks a dinner, they can bring it back to Linz and they can share it with the brother and sister. And this is what we gave to the Americans in the coordination of the peace. When we suggested to the Americans the 5+1 talk originally, Obama, was give us an object, we deliver it, you'll get someone in Iran who knows your work, and then they you give us a signed paper, we deliver it for you to the White House. And the Americans knew there was no joke. So we need people for the things we put up. Satellite people have got nothing to do with the mobile. If you sign for a mobile, that's a mobile. You sign for a satellite, is a job for life. You volunteered to support the humanity towards the change. You're a satellite, you spread to those who understand your strength of your knowledge, the strength of the soul in the language. There's a very clear cut between us. I know a lot of knowledge. So I don't want a mobile, I want to be a satellite. But can I be? Understand what each one stands for. You can sign in for a satellite and a mobile. It's not one or the other. You can come in, test, and then go back. We have people who are volunteering their family that they want to be on a satellite or a mobile.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
It's the same with now with the process which we have started in Germany with Parkinson. The results are amazing. Is done by the doctors, knowledge seekers who are expert in it, and they accept the responsibility of changing, to bring that change. And they take that condition up as doctors and they bring the change, adding the knowledge to it. But they are the satellites of what they call their own, what they call the knowledge of the medicine. And we try to expand these positions. Very soon, Keshe Foundation will be in Uruguay as one of the major medical centers in South America. And everything is done for it. And we deliver, and then we process the same.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
this
very much.
opportunity.
I tried to end the questions, Mr. Keshe, but there are a couple that should be answered. Perhaps Steph is wondering when she comes to do the transformation before to visit the other unit to fly to the moon or some other place, is it the same unit and are they different units, and can she choose to do both on
What do you
one day?
mean?
I guess
Who?
Steph, I believe it is, S with a heart here in our chat.
Yeah.
In the Q&A.
What does it say?
As far as I can tell, is it possible, she says, the German lady, is it possible when I come for the transformation to visit the other unit to fly to the moon? Are they the same unit or are they different units? And can I choose to do both on one day?
It can be done, but you have to register for it and we have to set the systems up for it. And if you're going to moon, you have to already set it up with us by now. That we know. People just come in and say, can you take me? It's not a, what do you call, taxi service.
Okay, she can settle that out in the background, I guess.
What's the other question?
From Miguel, who asks, what can we do to join the Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Arizona?
At the moment, there is no plan for it for the time being for the next few weeks. We're working on part of the program, which is the larger scale of it, and then John will announce it to all our operation manufacturing in Arizona will be done through Markway. If Keshe Foundation decides, and when it goes into operation of manufacturing, goes through our licensing, which is done with Markway. Markway Corporation, which is a stock market holding, which we already announced the licensing of it. Any production will go through Markway, and it will become one of the largest corporate management groups in the US once we start working on it.
Okay,
Because
sorry, go ahead.
Because even Markway is a stock market company. If you go on a panel of it, it says one of the influential people in the company is my name. And as a holder of the intellect, we do all operation to, as we have given license and it's in public, all operation manufacturing will go through Markway Corporation as they have been licensed to, and they have issued appropriate documents and it's been accepted by the stock market. We will, once we decide to go, we'll make Markway one of the biggest corporations in history of the United States. You have to understand it's not a claim, it's the reality, because if you look at it, like Microsoft just covers the computers. If you look at the other companies, they cover, let's say, agriculture or medicine or whatever. Keshe Foundation is a multifaceted organization. And when we give this kind of licenses to Markway, it covers all aspects of the application of the technology, be it the space, be it water technology, be it agriculture, be it medicine, be it material. All will go under the license corporation of the, what we call Markway. We own 1.6 billion shares in the corporation, that's in public knowledge. And accordingly, US corporation, once our beautiful partner John decides as the CEO of the company, will go that way. And it's set up to go that way. He heads as one of the most, what I call, appropriate people and correct people to run such operation for what the changes to come. Will finance through Keshe Foundation the operation of the loan agreements to Markway, and it's a public knowledge. We have given a license to Markway in the US, and all operation will run through this organization once we decide to move on. And we hold 97% of sharing controls, and we will apply it the same stuff. Markway will become part of the industrial, what we call revolution for us in the US.
Okay, perhaps one last question along those same lines. Is there a center with a shop in London for the Keshe products?
No, but is on the plan. Is on the plan to come up. We are looking at it. We have partners in this program, and he's an expert in this job. And very soon, as I said, part of what I said a few weeks ago that I'll be in the UK is this structure which is getting set up by him. Any other?
I think we should let you go at this point, Mr. Kesh, so you can get some rest.
Thank you very much. Sorry, a bit of plucky nose. I've got a very bad deep cold for a few days. But this is the end part of it, the back end of it, we're coming out of it. Thank you very much for today. And as I said, please go on the Keshe Foundation today. Don't wait for tomorrow. And register to become a satellite. We've done enough. We will have enough people to go to the next step as we completing. We need a few more people for transmutation in lens, but the satellite people are those which really bring the light into humanity. And we need as many as that is understood by our cultures and what we call path of life around the world. Don't wait one day. That one day has come. It's got today and it's got to be done as fast as possible. Thank you very much for today. Hopefully we'll see each other next week. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Thank you very much for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here. This has been the 453rd Knowledge Seekers workshop here on Thursday, October 6, 2022. Thank you everyone for attending. I'd like to also note that we have the public meeting for testimonials coming up on Monday, October 10th. And people are welcome to bring their testimonials of the plasma technology and share some of those experiences. And it'd be nice if you have a video or a picture to share as well. And that starts at the 8 p.m. Central European time. Okay, I think that's all for now. Okay, thank you everyone, and we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop, if not before. Bye for now.